because people were saying that my mic wasn't that great. Some feedback I got. So tell me if my mic is better today. Um, as for right now, during PM today, we have a couple Fed speakers, and then we have Trump signing a bill at 3. I don't think it's really gonna impact the market too much, that bill signing. But yeah, that the Fed speakers talking all afternoon could mess with price a bit. So I would be careful today. I probably wouldn't, you know, try and size up on a day like today. Maybe size down and just trade a little bit more conservatively, and maybe also wait for price to start putting in a little bit better price action here, because right now this price action isn't the greatest. I do like that we came down, tapped this 15-minute, and are getting this bullish like reaction to it. But there's no real singular obvious gap here for us to take as a long. This 2-minute never inversed here, so not really anything we can do about it. And we're very high in premium to take longs anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I finally decided on the couch, so I'm doing pretty good now. So it's been something that's been eating away at me for a couple months, trying to figure out what I was gonna do. I'm very particular about the things I buy, and I do a lot of research, and I try and make the most informed decision I can. So um, finally got that out of the way, so that's awesome. How do I size below 1 micro? You like copy trade less accounts. 2 minute long here? No. Nah, I wouldn't long this high up. The only way I would take a long this afternoon is if we started to generate some liquidity like we're doing now with these stacked highs, and then we got a retracement and got a long from there, right? So maybe if price were to come back to like this 5 minute last gap in the leg and we got a long, like maybe I would consider a long here, because I don't think it really makes sense for price to trade below this unless we become bearish. So really, this would be like our last key level that I would look at to take a long. And if we don't get a long from there, then I'd probably assume we're bearish, and I'd probably look to take shorts. Because if you look, this 5 minute kind of is near 50. So depending on like where you draw it, seeing a retrace to there wouldn't be horrible, right? Maybe we dip below the 5 minute a little bit here, we wick below, tap 50, and then come back up, respect the 5, something like that. But yeah, for right now, I think while we're just in this range here, there's really nothing for us to do. I'm not going to be looking for long, so I'm not going to like look for a low here to get swept and then V-shape back up. And delivery is still bullish because we're respecting that 15-minute and 5 minute. So while the delivery is bullish, I can't necessarily take a short, right? So while we're just here, we're just going to sit here on our hands. Maybe we talk about what happened this morning. Maybe I answer some questions, and that kind of be our focus for right now. And of course, we're at high of day, right? With no real great draws and liquidity remaining, right? That's important. You know, bias, momentum, time, model. We need that bias piece of a good draw and liquidity in order to convince us to take a trade. Give us that conviction. So our focus is, how do you like your new couch? It's in the process of shipping. I believe there's going to be 22 different boxes. Um, they just shipped the first 2 today. I spent a lot of money on a couch that I have to put together myself. So that's, I mean, hopefully it reaches our expectations. For Top Step, would you take a payout when it's available, or wait until you build a good buffer? For Top Step, don't you have to leave 50% of your balance in the account? So that's kind of your buffer. So it kind of depends. It depends how much you've made. How, like, what are we talking here? What's my short condition here? Probably if we start to violate bullish PD arrays. But until then, probably nothing. What I said specifically was this 15-minute gap would need to be inversed earlier. Is it a fully loaded Lovesac couch? It's not fully loaded. It's not fully loaded. It's just like the base. I'm thinking we can upgrade to that sometime in the future if I really want to. But to me, the speakers and the couch just kind of seems like a marketing gimmick. So I don't know. I mean, I can always get like surround sound or whatever, and it's like the same thing. You're hysterical, Fahrenheit. Plus, I'm not really like this big like audio guy. Like, I don't really care. Like to me, like, you know, maybe that's something I could care more about when I'm not like 23 or whatever. But my dad cares about that stuff a lot. So for Top Step, would you take a payout? Oh yeah, I already answered that. If I say to get to 5 winning days in MFFU and I have 50,715, I take the minimum of 250. Where's my drawdown at, please? Yeah, sure. So if you have 50,750, anytime you take a payout on MFFU, anytime you take a payout on MFFU, your account balance is going to be set to 50,100. Okay, that's going to be your starting drawdown. So any amount you have above that is what your remaining drawdown is. So if you take a payout for $250, that leaves you with 50,500. Subtract the starting balance, and that leaves you with $400 drawdown. Twisted, so you're at 1,500 right now. So it's kind of up to you. How much do you normally risk per trade? Like, are you somebody that risks 200 or like 150? Because if you took a payout, I'd probably drop the risk. Basically, by taking a payout now, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot and forcing yourself to risk less, meaning it'll take longer for you to get to your next payout, but you're getting your guaranteed money now. So it's kind of up to you. If you need money now, I'd say take the payout now. If you can wait, then being able to have more drawdown is going to be more beneficial to making more money now. Right? So if you need the money, I'd say go for it. If you don't need the money, do what you got to do. But I would probably take maybe like $500 instead of the full 750. 30-second short. So while I bet some of you guys are still joining, but what I just mentioned a few minutes ago is while we're still trading in like this range here, while we're respecting higher time frame bullish gaps, that tells us that our delivery is still bullish. And so I can't take a short while our delivery is bullish, right? Because that's basically shorting against the bias, shorting against the trend, right? And when we're pumping 500 points in a single day, I don't want to just take a random short without confirming that we've officially flipped bearish, right? Especially in market conditions where we're not really forming 1 minute for value gaps. You know, we've gotten one visible one like in this entire like trading range since like basically 108. Okay, so while we're just sitting up here, I'm just going to keep observing price. I'm not going to take anything, but when price starts to move and we start to get, you know, good looking PA, maybe during the macro or whatever, that's when I'll start to consider things, right? But I need to see price confirm bearish delivery. So we need to start violating bullish PD arrays, and it needs to be something that's more important and more obvious than just like a singular 30-second gap that like doesn't really stick out and doesn't really have a whole lot of significance, right? We didn't use that 30-second gap to make a higher high. We're just kind of trading in this range still. So that's kind of the idea. You have 150 by 5 on Top Step right now. How much would you risk per trade there? What's your drawdown edge? Twisted, if you took 3 payouts last month, the only reason why I would take another payout if I was you is if like I had expenses that I needed to pay. If you're just like looking to secure profit, then I'd probably just keep it in there and just keep running up the account balance. Because like I feel like the only reason why you're asking me this is because you're emotional and like you see the dollar signs and like you want to take the money out, but like I feel like it would be more advantageous to you logically to just keep the money in there, keep trading like how you know to trade, and then keep building that buffer, right? Oh no! I mean, if you got credit card bills, it makes more sense to pay off the credit card debt because, you know, interest, right? You're having to pay 2.5% interest a month on that, and so to me, it makes more sense to pay that down. Like you should have no debt, right? Before like considering taking a payout. At least in my head, but like I don't know. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know any other context to your finances, so like take it with a grain of salt. Not financial advice, just yeah, for sure. I got you twisted. Yeah, exactly, Kyoshi. Yep. This morning, Dodgy marked the 15-minute for value gap, but they're made out of multiple gaps. So FEG gap doesn't have to be singular. Yeah, no. Um, for value gaps don't necessarily have to be singular. So like, okay, this morning you said these two, right? So if you look at this gap, this fair value gap on the 15-minute probably represents itself as a singular gap on a higher time frame. So maybe the 1 hour or the 30-minute. And if you look here, this 30-minute gap is singular, right? So like anytime you see multiple stacked gaps like that on one time frame, they are probably on another time frame just as a singular gap, right? Similar to how, like, for example, this 15-minute gap here, like if you ignore this tiny gap up here, is a singular gap. But if you go on like the lower time frame, like the 3 and the 5, like it's all, a bunch of stacked gaps here. So time is fractal, and even though like he was picking the 15-minute time frame, you can really just use the 30-minute, and it's like the same thing, and it's a singular gap. But yeah, no, it doesn't have to be singular. But it's the same idea, right? Like this is all just inefficient, imbalanced price action, right? We want to balance this, right? And we do that by coming up, filling it in, and then if we're truly bearish, we'll come in, fill it in, respect it, and then continue to head lower. But if we're bullish, we'll disrespect it and then start to move higher, right? Because price wants to go from inefficiency to inefficiency. So if the next inefficiency is lower, price will continue to head lower. But clearly it was higher. And we knew that because we knew the draw on liquidity this morning was bullish. And the way we know the draw on liquidity is both the disrespecting and then figuring out like what's most obvious. And the way that we figure out what's most obvious is based on the hierarchy of draws. And the way we know the hierarchy of draws is through a bunch of data where we've back tested and we figured out that those specific set of draws that are weighted higher hit at a much higher rate than the other draws, right? They're more consistent, they're more reliable. You know, that's kind of how you can figure out the draw on liquidity for yourself. All right, Seb. Good job. What's the power of 3? It's just the tendency that a candle, or not the tendency, but it's the model for which like a candle normally prints, right? So it's kind of like open high low close or open low high close, right? It's that same idea, right? So like each candle is basically going to print a wick high and a wick low and then a body, right? And so depending on if the candle's red or the candle's green is how that candle prints. So if the candle's green, we'll usually open, we'll manipulate down, forming the wick, body up, and then close, right? And if the candle's bearish, we'll do the opposite, right? So we'll open, wick up, come down, form the body, come up, close, right? Manipulation like here, manipulation like here. And usually the reason why the macro times are important is because on the hourly, we get these wicks right in the last 10 minutes of the first 10 minutes, right? So basically, yeah, like same thing, I guess. I don't really know what CRT is, but sure. If CRT is talking about how we create manipulation legs to take out liquidity, create a turtle soup, and then get power of 3, yeah, that's same, basically same idea. CRT is just like basically targeting the turtle soup with a manipulation leg, which, yeah, manipulation legs are the best to use when considering taking a turtle soup entry. Zebi, did that kind of answer your question? So that 30-second short did work to the low. Took a minute, but I would definitely go break even there if you decided to take it. And then first target would probably be maybe the equal lows there. I like it. We got a devil's mark and a equal low paired in a fair value gap. Yeah, for sure, Zebi. Yep. The best turtle soup entries are going to be off manipulation. Like, so whenever you see price come really close to a low, right? So imagine we got this low or this high here, and then we got price running up, okay? And then we come really close, and we like start to chop sideways like this, right? And then all of a sudden we see price shoot above the high and then come back down. This IFEG is the best, like one of the best in the market. And this turtle soup entry is like really good too. 30-second long. Yeah, crypto. I mean, for here, I just don't have momentum. We're not disrespecting higher time frame bullish gaps yet, so no reason for me to flip bearish yet. I mean, this is basically just an eval play or a paper trade. Like, if you want to try it, it works sometimes. It doesn't work other times. Do I like the engineered highs up top as a good draw on liquidity? Maybe, but only if we're like coming off a discount. Like right now, like I still think the better draw is probably a higher time frame unfilled liquidity, which we have below this 1 hour, right? Stacked highs on the 1 minute aren't that important, especially when they don't really appear on a lot of other time frames here. But when you start to like see a lot of liquidity generated, like something like this is what interests me, right? This is a lot of lows here. So like I think it makes sense to want to be bearish, but we got to confirm that first by seeing like multiple bullish gaps get violated, and so far we haven't really seen that. We've just seen basically that 30-second. I do want to like potentially look for an options play today. I tried taking one this morning, got break even on it. I definitely think we could come back and see a short workout this afternoon, but I don't know. We'll see. Right now, price is kind of running into like break even on the day from, I don't know, I guess when price opened at 6 or, I don't know. I'm looking at QQQ and for some reason it's saying that maybe it's from midnight open? Or why are we calling this? For some reason, Robinhood is saying that this is like even on the day. Maybe it's from the previous close. Yeah, probably from the previous close. So if I go here and I go to like 4 o'clock close, 4 o'clock closed here. Yeah, so that's why I think. What do I choose to take options over futures? I don't. I actually like to take futures over options. Just some days during PM, it's nice to get options plays because these 0 day till expiry options can run. And if we're moving like we have today, this big exaggerated 400 point move, we could see some movement coming into the end of the day to try and get a retrace on some of the up move, and that's where you start to see like a lot of percentage gains, 300-400%. I'm just trying to catch that. So really good momentum here on this 30-second, delivering out of the 15-minute in the macro time. Singular gap, decent break even, not a great draw. I'd probably rate this like an A- long setup. Factoring in the fact that we're at high of day and premium and we've already took out buy side, probably degrades it like a B+ setup. Something you could try and force if you're like last day of an eval, or like, I don't know if you want a paper trade, but wouldn't ever take this in a funded. I'm doing good, Baker. How are you? Not bad. Just open the charts. Good. Did you see? Were you on the charts this morning? Wait, what? Capital One and Discover merged? Did you guys know that? Huh. They discovered, or not, they discovered, they acquired Discover for $35 billion. That's crazy. So yeah, that 30-second clearly failed there. Baker, this morning was good. Basically, if you just long. I was able to catch the longs, which is good. Discover is now part of Capital One. No action is needed. All right, cool. Great. I just opened my Discover app and saw that notification. So yeah, do you guys see why like trying to take short setups here or long setups here is like kind of unpredictable? Like this 30-second short just went break even with no take profit. This long just failed. So like we're just essentially waiting for better PA and for price to tell us concretely the delivery that it wants to have basically, so that we can pair that with our draw and liquidity and then get an entry model to target that draw. What was draw and liquidity? Draw and liquidity this morning was previous day high, I think, or Asia highs or something. We left like all this here unbalanced, and when price started to accelerate up here past this roadblock, past these highs, this turned into a pretty clear draw, and then obviously, previous week high, all that. Yeah, exactly right. We expect consolidation after distribution, so yep. Today should be pretty easy though. Maybe we get a nice like eval setup or something during the macro. It's just right now, this is another sign that price action isn't that good, guys. Usually during macros, we will maybe see a manipulation in the first couple minutes, and then we'll start to see expansion. And right now, we're kind of getting that. We started at 350 here, got this manipulation leg up, and now we're starting to move down, but we haven't really cleared this range yet, right? We've kind of just been stuck in this. And so usually during the macro, we will see price really start to accelerate and expand, and we haven't really gotten that yet. We've just kind of been consolidating. So, that's just another sign that like price isn't that great right now. I had somebody tell me that we got to start playing more interesting games during the streams than just the boring New York Times games. Do you guys feel the same way? Should we stop messing with all that stuff and just sit here? I can tell you guys about my new Lamborghini and my new G-Wagon and my fourth broken camera. We need the Minecraft stream for sure. We got a bullish SMT here at this low, but we're just consolidating. And I always say, like, the most important SMTs are going to be the ones that occur at the extremity of the range, for example, here. And when we get these tiny SMTs in the middle of the range, they don't really matter that much. Okay, so we're kind of breaking out of that, I don't know, consolidated area we were in. Good momentum candle here. SMCs really only matter when we take some actual liquidity, right? Yeah, exactly, right? Usually that occurs at the extremity of the range. When they just occur in the middle of the range, I mean, we took out this low here, but like, yeah, they're just not that important on like the 1 minute time frame inside, the dealing range or whatever. What are the premiums right now on QQQ puts? Does it make sense to buy anything this afternoon? This morning I was looking, the IV was like 30%, which is pretty normal. I wasn't sure if any news or anything had made that change, but IV's actually lower than this morning, so Makes sense. We've been consolidating. Hourly looks like a crazy sweep. Yeah, it does. We tapped into this. Oh, no, we haven't yet. Okay, so I actually am going to amend that original draw on liquidity I wanted. I said that those equal lows would seem like a decent draw. I actually would rather see this 30-minute get hit. So maybe if we see this 30-minute get hit, we'll start to see that reaction, and then maybe price will want to sell off, you know, if we inverse that 30-minute. Here comes the next 4-hour candle. $12. So here's 2. Form the next hourly gap. So yeah, now that we have an hourly gap here, this will kind of be our determination, I guess, PD array, depending on how we respect this or violate it, will kind of tell us the bias for this afternoon. So we've tapped into it now. So we should see a bullish reaction to this if we're bullish. Us hitting this hourly gap. We've started to put in like a lot of stacked highs all the way back up here, but they're not really that significant. Like this isn't the greatest LRLR. Let's see, do we leave any unfilled liquidity above? We might put in this 15-minute here. Yeah, I mean, I'd say we're putting in these stacked highs, Kevin, but the issue with considering this as LRLR is usually when we're looking at LRLR, we want to look for these like nice, obvious highs that have been created, kind of like that or like that. And here on the way up, we just don't really have that. It's pretty much just those two highs. What I like about all this liquidity here is that there's no like roadblocks really in the way. So if price wants to accelerate, it'll just go straight up. But usually what we're looking for with LRLR is either consistent, obvious internal lows or internal highs that, you know, just run up in a line or are stacked kind of like this. Like this to me is better LRLR, right? Like obvious low here, 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 right? And the reason why we want to target obvious lows and not like just, you know, random ITLs and ITHs is because we want to think about like what a trader is going to do, right? And so the more obvious lows that you have, the more likely they are to be on like the higher time frame as well, which means that traders that only like, for example, trade on the 5-minute or the 15-minute are going to use these lows for stop losses. Whereas if you look at here and you look at like this quote unquote trend line liquidity, do you see any obvious highs or lows on the 5-minute here? Not really, right? And so like those highs and lows that we see on the lower time frame here aren't really going to be used for stop losses, which is what we need in order to target them as like draws and liquidity, right? So that's why I wouldn't say it's like the best draw in liquidity ever. What I'd actually be looking at more so are like these highs here. Like I think these are the better draw in liquidity. Because everyone that went short kind of has their stop here if they were shorting this. Everyone that's going short here probably has their stop here, and everyone that went short here probably has their stop here. And none of those stops got ran. So we have 3 liquidity pools here of stop losses that will most likely be targeted if we're still bullish, right? But in my opinion, this is actually the better draw in liquidity. You know, we have triple equal lows, or equal lows and then a relative equal low there. We have all this trend line liquidity here. We have unfilled 4-hour liquidity and 1-hour liquidity. So, like, there's a lot that price could come back to here as long as we start violating bullish PD arrays, right? Yeah, for sure. We are moving at the speed of snail right now. No, Flanagan. I actually think, I feel like this would probably be considered sin by the Bible, right? Like trading. How do you find these equal lows and highs? I haven't seen them at all. Yeah, so I have an indicator that shows me equal lows and highs. No. I wouldn't say it'd be considered gambling, but the act of trading, you're using your wealth to acquire more wealth when the goal of the Bible is to, like, basically get rid of any extraneous possessions, right? I don't know. I'm not a preacher or a pastor, right? But don't they want to, like, kind of move away from this, like, idea of, like, wealth attainment and, like, that kind of thing, and focus on, like, helping people? That's just something poor people say. Okay, I don't know. That's true. The more you have, the more you can help. I don't know how it works. You just shouldn't live above your means. True. You shouldn't live exorbitantly or something. Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, there's a couple other ones. There's, if you like to keep track of power of 3 on the higher time frame, there's that. If you want to use the new week opening gap and new day opening gap, whenever we have like that as a draw on liquidity, that marks it out for you. That's about it for now. For sure, Hexola. Okay. So some of you guys while trading are definitely sinning then. With the whole greed and desire thing, but as long as you're like, it kind of depends on your intention, right? That's essentially what you're saying, Hexola. If your intentions are good, then it's probably straight, yeah. What's your look back on equal highs? Yeah, I just tried and set it back as far as the indicator allows me, which I think is 5,000. Dejman, I mean, we inversed the 15 minutes of the downside that first one there, and we're tapping into that second one. I'm just watching to see if this 30-minute, 1 hour, 15-minute gap break, and then that will kind of confirm bearish delivery in the higher time frame, which will allow me to take shorts. But for right now, not really. Fahrenheit, the only good trade that I saw this morning, which is what I took, was the 3-minute inverse here. I thought this was good. Sweep of the lows, delivery out of the 15-minute here. Disrespecting higher time frame bearish gaps. And then, yeah, it was before open, but we had, like, good break-even targets here. We had these stacked highs. There wasn't really any roadblocks in the way here. So that was another reason why you could have just held this trade, because normally if, like, you're entering the 2-minute here and there's, like, a gap above or some other problematic area that's going to be harder to break through, like, I understand, like, wanting to wait for all time frames. But here, we have no roadblocks really in the way up until we get to, like, 226, which, when you see price violate this and then, obviously have the higher time frame delivery as well, you don't really need to wait for all that, This reaction off the liquidity sweep is good enough, right? That V shape. All right, so we're coming down a little bit now. Lorman, same. I'm trying like a lotto play right now for options to see if this gets ran. I mean, we'll see if it hits, but yeah, I'm just trying something light size on options. If it works, if it works. If it doesn't, I don't really care. It's kind of like an all or nothing zero to hero play. I can't even like scale out of this, so it's really either got to hit or it's got to go hit my break-even point. Stop at break-even. How much would I think I'm only up like 12% or something right now. $15 really doesn't matter much. Yeah, the 15-minute gap here I wouldn't really care about too much. It's really just the hourly and 30-minute. Really, it's the 30-minute because the hourly, once that closes, that's probably going to be too far. So I would just be focusing on the 30-minute here probably. You in options right now? Yeah, twisted. Yep. I'm actually. This might hit for a quick 100%. I'm not gonna lie. It's already at 50%. I mentioned it a couple minutes ago. Yeah. What apps do I use to trade options? I use Thinkorswim and Robinhood, but right now I'm just using Robinhood. I just started up a small cash account, and I'm going to try and run that up and 3x it. I did that a couple months ago, and I'm just doing it again for fun. I got to find a way to pay for this couch. What's the difference between options and futures? So with options, you have to account for time whenever you're taking a trade. On futures, you don't really have to. It's just pretty much up or down. Yeah, true, Flanagan. That's why I'm kind of in early here, because I want to try and catch the majority of the move before they close it out. Um, if that happens, Flanagan, I'll just switch over to my Thinkorswim account and just enter in there. The 2 minute, I'm guessing you're talking about for a long. I'm not really looking long here. I will say though, this was my criteria for longs. If price came back to fill in this last unfilled 5 minute gap, and we got a bullish reaction. But to me, this looks like price wants to put in the sell side of the curve. This doesn't look like a scenario where we're like chopping, maybe sideways, manipulate down, and then back up, right? This kind of seems like price wants to elevator down through this. We got the 15-minute close here in about 30 seconds, so we'll see if that gets closed below. That would be really good for options, because then that would confirm bearish delivery on the higher time frame. You know, maybe we don't close the 30-minute, but we'll see. 20 more seconds now. So no close below there. Damn. Okay. I really liked when I bought these options too, because I'm getting like a little bit of extra profit from IV, because like we were consolidating for a while and now we're kind of picking up that volatility. Yeah, there's 0 days trade boy. Yeah. So want to see price close below this 1 minute low here. I'm using Robinhood right now, Zebi, but I'll usually use Robinhood or Thinkorswim. Gotta have relative equal lows at 21,376. True. Yep. I was looking at the ones at 395, but yeah, this is where I want price to go actually. You know, that low there, like these lows here, or the 1 hour low, whatever, you know, based on momentum we get to. But yeah, 376 is kind of where I'm looking. So yeah, this is really starting to move now. My options are 70%. But yeah, as far as like IFEG entries, have we really gotten one so far? Like, I'm never gonna sell off the buy side of the curve ever. Like, I'm not gonna play an inverse off that. So haven't really got any like stellar textbook play yet. But if you have an options account or something, maybe you know you can jump in and try and catch this move. What odds did you take? I'm only up 33%. I took 521s. I took 521s when this 15-minute inversed. The 521 strikes went from $60 to now they're sitting at about $95 a con. Yeah, I play out of the money on these 0 days because they really start to spike in percentage gains when they go in the money, which now these are. Baker, that'll be sick, and you can write it off as a tax write-off. Okay, so I'm really liking this momentum down. I would really like to see the 5-minute get close below here. Hopefully we just start to sell off through all this, since these will be... There won't really be any roadblocks here, so we should just keep moving down. My contracts just hit up 100%. If I was in anything besides one contract here, I would scale there and just cover the rest of my position. So that's cool. 100% banger called out. I think this is gonna really get going. I mean, it's not really showing any sign of stopping right now. Top stats rules for 50K: if you can make 1500 max in a day, 1500 per trade. Basically, I'm at 1450 on a fresh 50K. I can't trade again, right? Yeah, no, Henry, you're done. Yep, 50% consistency. I'm still waiting for a few futures plays. Just going, yeah, same. I mean, we haven't gotten anything so far. So there's that 5-minute close below. That's a good sign. So here's the problem with taking like the 5-minute short, for example, here. Stop loss is 70 points. That's pretty much the only issue. It's actually, we got a 1-to-1 here, but we left equal lows here, so that's good. So be careful chasing shorts down here, guys. We could definitely get a confirmation setup here that gives us a way better risk reward than a 70-point stop. So I feel like if you're trying to enter short, like, sure, they might win this time, but it kind of feels like an emotional, like, FOMO trade. And, like, not having enough patience to, like, wait for the play, you know? So it might work, but just know that, like, unless you're somebody that like doesn't get emotional, like you might be building bad habits, and just like stay aware of that. Could use the BPR as a stop loss, as a moment to play on the 5-minute if you activation. I feel like I've seen Dodgy do that before. Yeah, you could for sure. I'd probably use this one here, right? If we close above that, that would be a bad sign. So like this is how I would kind of do it. And then that's still like, you know, 2R. Yeah, for sure. You wouldn't consider a good chase? I mean, this is like okay. I feel like we will probably get a better setup this week or maybe even today, where you don't necessarily have to chase. You know, good chase plays often give you a stop loss that isn't like crazy, right? Like this stop loss is like bare minimum 40 points, which like I don't know. So here, what is our roadblock? What is stopping price? Probably this 3-minute. Oh wait, did we close below it? No, we didn't. Okay, so yeah, we'll watch this 3-minute gap now to get close below, because this is really the gap that sent price up, and we're currently holding it. So hopefully we inverse this 3-minute. If we do, I think we'll just go down and run these lows. If we hold it, then maybe we'll come back up, because we swiped out these equal lows now, and we're kind of getting a bullish turtle soup reaction. So yeah, 15 minutes still hasn't closed below yet. This long setup actually looks decent on the 1-minute. Actually, never mind. We're running into other gaps. I lied. Maybe we get this 30-second here. So form that 30-second gap there. Still haven't closed below that. I can kind of get rid of these off the chart. This gap here. We'll see if price closes over this. Probably want to see price continue to respect that if we're bearish, and we want to see price continue to disrespect bullish PD arrays. So hopefully we inverse this 30-second. You know what could be cool to see here is if we come down and hit the hourly gap before 3, and then we get like both sides of the hourly, and we take out the low and then take out the high. Let me get a long. That could be cool. All right, let's see here. We're going to inverse this 30 down. Got about 8 seconds. Nope. So no 30-second inverse there. Next 5-minute candle open here. Would this 30-second be too low? If we're thinking about it in terms of the higher time frame, probably not. But on the lower time frame, yeah. I feel like the best plays are going to come from a manipulation leg, which to me this doesn't really seem like a manipulation leg. This seems kind of like the reaction to the sweep of the equal lows here. So yeah, we inverse that 30-second to the upside. Gotta watch this 3-minute now. For me, it's still gonna depend on this 5-minute here. Yeah, you took the 30-second? Yeah, that was good. That was fine. I mean, we continue to respect that 3-minute gap there that price originally held and caused price to go up. So I like that idea. You know, we get the liquidity sweep there. We get the singular gap. The only problem is, like, what's your draw on liquidity? You know, we have this unfilled 5-minute up here, so maybe that's your draw, and then you just sell there and cover it all at, like, what would that be? 1R maybe? That's probably how I would trade that if I were looking long. Yeah, that's a good 10 points. I'd take that. That's 1.5R. Yeah, that's perfect. You traded that perfectly, Adrian. I wouldn't do anything differently. Because, like, I wouldn't, like, be expecting price to hit high of day here. You know, the only way I'd be expecting that is if we inverse this 5-minute gap. And I have no conviction in price hitting high of day because I think the stronger draw is below. So this, to me, just looks like a short-term retrace. You know, maybe we come up, tap this 5-minute. Now we have bearish delivery on the lower time frame, and then maybe we inverse this 1-minute down, and then maybe that's your short play that everyone's going to take, right? Because now, do we have like a 50% retrace here anywhere? Not really, but like this short looks way better, right? Than just like chasing. So we have a tiny 30-second gap here. We're coming off this 5-minute. This is good momentum. I'm going to jump in there on a short. Yeah, exactly, Kiyoshi. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, you know? Like, to me, this looks good. You know, we're coming off the 5-minute here. We didn't inverse this gap to the left here, which that could be the problem. But Kind of up to you, Twisted. Kind of up to you. SMT on the 32nd. Yeah, that doesn't really matter. So we got the next 15-minute candle close here. So we're going to close below everything. We're going to close below the 30-minute. So now we're basically just taking the 30-minute inverse. It's like the same exact entry spot, basically. Yeah, I agree, Flanagan. That would be nice. Yeah, I'm not loving the chop either, Zebby, but we'll see. I feel like the momentum going into the trade was good. The momentum prior to the trade was good. This retrace here was good. And now, of course, when we're in the trade, it starts chopping. But, you know, we haven't really given it enough time. We got to let the trade develop. It's only been like 3 minutes. So give it a sec, give it a chance, and I think it'll be okay. Which limit is a stop for a sell? I mean, isn't this technically 1-to-1 to the low here? So you could like limit out at the low for 1-to-1. Yeah, so the low there you could sell one at. And then, I don't know, you could target like those lows there at 3. I would just go for like 7-6, honestly, go for the home run. If this really wants to go. We really want to see price inverse this 30-second, and we're not getting that yet. 449.70. Yeah, that's where I would go break even. We just made more equal lows here. So yeah, this 30-second is being the problem. So yeah, it looks like might be a fail. Don't really love this momentum coming back up. I like that we left the equal lows there, but yeah, the fact that we respected this 30 seconds so many times and kind of souped this low and then went right back up, like that's not the greatest sign. But I'm not really tripping about it because this is like, what, a 10-point loss? Like, that's nothing. If it even triggers. Which it looks like it's going to. So yeah, 10-point loss there. I'm okay with that. That's fine by me. So yeah, there, the problem with that was just 30-second never closed below. I still think like we're bearish because we inverse this 30-minute. But it's just probably going to take another attempt, which that's fine. That's fine by me. I think I would take this trade every time. I have no problem throwing that in the journal. We met all my criteria, right? I said I needed a higher time frame to confirm where we have bearish delivery. We got that in multiple different ways, the 30-minute, the 5, the 15-minute. And so here, I think the reason why this failed is because, one, we didn't inverse that last 30-second there, and two, because, what's it called? Yeah, I guess that would really be the only reason why this failed. We have the hourly low? Yeah, we have the hourly, but I don't know. We'll see. I feel like the delivery here is just like the price delivery itself, because of price action, just like got really choppy there. We can get a retracement to 15 and then a fair value gap or IFEG. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so now, if we tap the 15-minute and sell off from there, that could be good. So I don't want to take this until we hit that 15-minute or we get a liquidity sweep. If this play ends up working out now, so be it. We came off the 5-minute here. I debated going to break even when we reswept this low because that's like the technical break even, and I guess it made sense because it was a low inside of a fair value gap, right? That 30 seconds. So maybe that was the break even and maybe this was just a break even play. How many points was this up? It's up 7 points, which that's kind of small to go to break even at, to be honest. But yeah, this is maybe that scenario where like normally I'd wait to go break even down here, but because it's a low inside of a fair value gap, maybe it makes sense to go break even and just take the break even there. All good though. On to the next. So we formed this 1 minute. If we came up and saw another bearish soup reaction, this would be like, I guess, a second attempt. And if this attempt were to fail, I'd probably just give up on the day. Because 2 trades and we're done. And I guess another bad part about this is, like, I guess the reason why I didn't really feel great going to break even there was because we left equal lows. And usually equal lows will get hit. You have limit sells at CE of the 15-minute? Okay. Well, I think they just hit. All right, sounds good, Seb. So we came down, respected this 3-minute, then put in a 30-second, respected that, started violating bearish PD race. So I guess lower time frame delivery is now telling us we're bullish. And if we inverse this 5-minute up, forget it. I think we're just bullish then. And I got to flip again. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw, but um, wait a sec. Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but you can get a free reset with any eval purchased on MFFU. So that's like the promotion for this week. So if you buy an eval, you get a free reset. So you get basically 2 chances now for $90 instead of 1. Which that's pretty good. No, that's not only for new users. That's the promotion for this week, and then the promotion for new users is still 50% off. Those those codes expire the 25th, so I guess on Sunday. Yeah, so I think we're just long biased here. Yeah, there's nothing really showing us that price wants to get bearish. Maybe if we respect the 5 minute. Yeah, I don't think we did. We definitely inversed it. So it's really down to, I guess, this 15-minute left if we respect that. So maybe now, instead of it being a situation where we take out the low and then the high, we take out the high and then the low in the last hour. Could this short maybe not play out because of this open 3 minute for value gap? Yeah, exactly that too, right? This 3 minute gap never inversed. Three-minute long, a good play. I wouldn't want a long here because I don't love the draw on liquidity. I would just be looking short. I mean, now at least, did we get a 50% retrace here? So we just missed that 50%. We respected the 5 minute. I think we inversed it. At least for me, we did. I think I would have been a little bit more wary about this 3 minute if price had came down and swept out liquidity, but because we left that liquidity intact there, I figured that would be like our current draw, and we'd inversed everything else in this leg. So whenever we do that, we expect price to go to the low that's in that leg. So that's kind of the reason why I didn't really care about this 3 minute too much in the moment. But yeah, we're coming up on 250 here. We've created a 4 minute gap, a 3 minute, a couple 2 minutes, and a couple 1 minutes for us to inverse here. So I guess we'll see if that happens. I like this momentum down. We're still respecting that 15 minute here, so. Could have just been early. Definitely could have just been early. 3 minutes short. See, I don't love the idea of now trying to long or short based off the 3 minute because what if like we like just end up respecting this 1 minute down here or whatever, because we're still like confirmed lower time frame bullish delivery, and until that kind of gets disrespected, how do I know that because we inverse the 3 minute, this 1 minute's gonna break, or that 30-second below is gonna break, right? So we'll just see. Like we could just V shape back up here now and like inverse this 15-second or whatever, and just go right back up and go for 50 or whatever. We did close the 15-minute here. I like that when the 15-minute closed, we didn't close inside the gap. That's a good sign, I guess, for being bearish. But yeah, we got to start seeing price like violate. I feel like this lower 1 minute. Maybe that's what I would take instead of the 3 minutes. Probably the 1 minute. There's just no downward momentum. I mean, yeah, we like kind of push down and then stall and then whatever. Who's in these longs? Not us. We're actually looking short, Frosty. What's going on, dude? So we got 3.5 more minutes before the macro time kicks in. So you just want to continue to see 1 minute closes below the previous low, just to continue to confirm that we're bearish. If we break that 3 minute, we will for sure see another 100 points to downside. Flanagan, if that's what you're saying, man, I believe you. We got 10 more seconds. Let's see if we get the 3 minute inverse here. So we got the 3 minute. So yeah, I think this was just a case of us being early, which that'll happen from time to time. Not the 4. Yeah, I don't really care about the 4 minute time frame most of the time. The 3, the 2, and the 1 are going to be more impactful. Am I taking it? No, like I said, I think I'd have to wait for the 1 here, but we'll see. I mean, I'm technically in this already on options. If you got in on the 3, you could pretty much get back in basically from your stop loss from the original trade. Yeah, I think what I'll do for the 1 minute, Scotty, is I'll just average in on my short on options and just add to the lotto. if we get it. So start of the macro here in about 30 seconds. So here's the start of the macro. So 3-minute close here at about 7 seconds. Doesn't look like it's going to fail. You have to include that 3-minute inception gap above. But if there was no inception gap there, it would have failed. But I think it's good. So far, so good. I wish this macro would just pick a direction for us instead of chopping us in this range again. Yeah, Flanagan. That was kind of the reason why I wanted to wait for this 1 minute, because we've kind of shown over the last 20 minutes or so that price is respecting lower time frame bullish gaps, and so without waiting for those multiple time frame closes, we don't really know if price is going to start delivering bearish or bullish or whatnot. So hopefully this is just like a bullish manipulation leg before the bearish move, but not really a great sign if you're short. You think the hourly close will tell us the direction? Maybe. I feel like if the hourly closed here, that would be bullish, and then we'd probably just hit this high, previous hourly high or whatever. Yeah, maybe Pip Captain. Is there a 5-minute long? Oh yeah, the 5-minute long is playing out right now. I guess if you included the second gap down here, it didn't fail, but it failed right there. Three-minute close for longs. Looks like it'll be invalid. Yeah, I think we're just bullish here. So there's the 3-minute fail. You guys can now see why I wanted to wait for that 1 minute there. I just figure it'll be a higher probability play if we wait for that. We got the 15-minute close here in about 5 minutes. If we close over that 15-minute, I think we're just gonna be gone. I locked myself out of my exit phase this morning when I heard Trump would be talking and worked on emails instead. Unfortunately, I had a very green day. Would you say it's safe to trade my XFA tomorrow? Heard Dodgy say he's giving it a miss. Well, let's see. What's news tomorrow? Is tomorrow no news with Fed speakers? Yeah, probably not. I mean, we got Fed speakers and no news. We also had this tiny 1 minute. Was this holding price? Yeah, I guess that was holding price, and we closed above that, so that's probably what's going to push us up now. So 3-minute inverse worked to the highs there. That's where you'd go break even. We do have a bearish S&T now at this high. We still have the 15-minute close. Henry, I'd say probably not because we have multiple Fed speakers tomorrow with no news. So that's probably not a good recipe for high probability conditions. So it looks like the 3-minute there would have been a break-even trade. We got 3 more minutes until 3 o'clock. So yeah, based on this reaction to the S&T, we're just going to go up. Sounds good, Zebby. Okay, okay. Wait, maybe the S&T is about to do something crazy for us. Dude, putting in a 5-minute order block, getting all these different inverses, like, there's just no way this isn't bullish, right? Like, as soon as we break the S&T, I feel like this is like gonna fly. Let's keep an eye on the 1 hour here. 1 hour closing in the gap would be better than closing outside of it. 15-minute, we got to keep an eye on too. 1 more minute till that closes. Here's the close. Hourly candle close there. Previous hourly high incoming. Tap into this 15-minute, reject from it. Get a short down to previous hourly low. We broke that SMT now. All right, there's previous hourly high. Dude, why didn't we get a 30-second gap there? Oh my goodness. If we would have gotten a 30-second gap, I probably would have taken that. I can't take a 15-second though. No. So yeah, we came up, we hit 50%. We hit that 15-minute gap. So if we fall off from here, it makes sense. Previous hourly low now in the cards. Would you say your psychology gets better after your first payout? Yeah, of course. Yeah, it should help you get confidence in everything you're trying to achieve. It gives you like that morale boost. For sure. Really loving this reaction to hitting the previous hourly high here. It's pretty great. Came down, hit this 5-minute gap now, shot right back up. Don't really know what to think now. We swept out liquidity. Got a bearish reaction to doing so. Tapped this 5-minute, went to the next inefficiency and shot right back up. And now we're coming back down. So I guess we'll base it off this 5-minute. If this 5-minute breaks, that would be good. With the 2-minute, the 1-minute. 30-second up. Nah, I wouldn't long here anymore. If you wanted to long before, that's fine, but it's too choppy, and we took out the previous hourly high, which I think was the draw on liquidity. What about the 2? Yeah, 2 or the 1-minute here. Oh, actually, wait, no, we're above that now. So yeah, the 2-minute here. 2-minute here could be decent. I'm really liking this reaction. Second bullet for the day, potentially. 7-point stop. Yeah, we're just not disrespecting it. Oh, this sucks. You still in your options play? Yeah, 0 to hero, man. It's down about 12, no, 15% right now. So 5-minute candle closing coming here. So because the momentum here is kind of bad, I wouldn't like recommend taking this unfunded. Maybe we get an eval or something. That would be good. For a quick pass, like in a couple days, probably 1,000. But like if it's a 50K, but normally I risk like 500. Honestly, like if you're just looking for a quick pass full port, like I don't know what quick is, dude. Quick is subjective. For me, I think quick pass is like 3 days or less. So like normally I'll risk 500 under those conditions. One trade a session, maybe two. Make $500 per trade. Quick, easy, done. In the same session, yeah. I mean, you just have to full port. Full port the first good play you see. That's about it. Well, this is horrible. You know what sucks is I'm gonna have to switch to Thinkorswim, I think, for this options play because Robinhood's gonna kick me out in 24 minutes, and it could take longer than that, and it could take the 350 until we see price run the lows. We could also just not even be bearish here. Like we're still respecting lower time frame bullish BD raise. Okay, good momentum here on this singular 1 minute candle. 10-point move. Oh boy. So you want to see price close below this low, maybe inverse the 2 minute here. 2 and 5 close at the same time. Well, that's good news. Previous hourly low was down here. Not really getting that 1 minute close below there. Got 10 more seconds. Doesn't look like we're gonna get the 2. We're gonna get the 5. So we did get the 5. Just no 1 or 2. I mean, I'm gonna add to my options play, so that's like kind of like me getting in. But yeah, I want previous hourly low here. I think instead of on Robinhood, I'm just adding it on Thinkorswim. With conditions like this, would you wait for all the time frames? I mean, up to you. I feel like we're kind of already moving. What options play am I in? I'm in 521 0 days. 521 strike 0 days right now. The original play was off this 15-minute inverse here, and I just said I was lottoing it, so that means that 0 to hero. You know, if it goes to 0, so be it. I lose everything on it. If it's a winner, it's a winner. So made equal lows here. That's a good sign for shorts. 2-minute closes in about 40 seconds. No SMT at the low there. There really shouldn't be a reason for this reaction. You know, we got the 5-minute inverse. We should just see the 2 close below now too. Yeah, SP or not 521. QQQ. 521. Did we get the 1-minute close below here? Yeah, we did. Okay. No 3-minute, no 4. Bruh. The delivery year is like so bad. Like we're just like every black candle is being retraced by a green candle, or every red, I should say. So we got the 2-minute above, and then we have this gap that's holding price. So technically, we have an external versus internal situation. But the reason why I don't really care about it that much is because we got the liquidity sweep. So there's the 2-minute close. You guys kind of already know I'm already in this. This is 1.5R. I'd go break even at the low because that's a low inside of our fair value gap. We do have a bullish SMT there, but I feel like it should break. We got the next 15-minute candle close coming up too. Dude, why do we have to get a bullish SMT? Like, can we just be correlated, please? Please be correlated. Here's the next 15-minute candle open. Okay, so there's the break even for the 2 minute. So if you're in from the 2 minute, that's where you'd go break even. And then your target is just the previous hourly low here. Watching ES as well here. So it looks like that's a break even, which that's fine. No big deal. I don't know if the break even here is going to save you. I feel like this might have just been a reaction to us tapping into that gap again. Pre-market today we had a 4-hour bullish SMT. I asked in chat if it is irrelevant after buy sell liquidity is taken. That's a good question that I didn't answer. At what point would an SMT lose its relevance? An SMT loses its relevance when we sweep out liquidity. So, yeah, I'd agree with you. Or when we tap into the next inefficiency. Or when we start to, like, get bearish delivery. So if we have a bullish SMT but then start getting bearish delivery, the SMT really doesn't matter that much. How many of you are still in a short right now? I guess type 1. Okay. As soon as this 2 minute gap or 1 minute gap breaks, I think that's when we're going to run the previous hourly low. So we've got 10 more seconds. Maybe we'll do it here. 5 seconds. Hopefully we get the 1 minute inverse too. Nice. I think we got it. Okay, so it should just be clear to the previous hourly low now. I mean, we still have that 30-second, right? But hopefully it breaks this time. Okay, well that sucks. Random pump candle there. Can't read your price X's. What is your target? My target is 21,4495, I think. Just previous hourly low. Just here. 21,449.75 or whatever that is. 449 or 450. All right, sounds good, Henry. You too. Bruh. I'm gonna have to sell my position on Robinhood because it's not gonna hit by 3:30. That kind of sucks. Yeah, that 30 seconds is too strong. We just keep respecting it over and over and over. Well, I just had to get out of my options position for a slight gain. Is what it is. All right. I mean, we're just dropping slow grind down. I'm guessing we'll hit previous hourly low at some point on either ES or NQ. Just a matter of time. Might take till 350. Might be in the next 5 minutes. I have no idea. I don't got a crystal ball, but I do have this cool nifty model that kind of gives me an idea. Dang, Roan. That sucks. Alright, Cheddar, you too. Alright. We're getting there. Looks like that last 30-second might break here. Yep, we got it. So now it's just that last little 3 minute, I guess, to the left there, and then we're good to go. I would hold a runner depending on the reaction to the previous hourly low here. You too, Rowan. The 521 puts are up 50% again. Looks like I'm going to probably end up finishing or selling this contract at the previous hourly low. I'll probably take maybe 70% win here or something like that. Which, that's fine. That's going to put me like break even on the session, which is good. As long as that final TP is. I didn't size too heavy on the short because we were kind of deep in discount, but that was a loss. So if the options play wins and that's a loss, I guess I'll call that break even on the day. And I'm all out on the options play there. Oh, I actually got a good fill, 1.1. All right, so $50 a con there. That was good. Little 80% options play. And then let's see if we have a good reaction to previous hourly low here. I guess who was in that short to the low there? I felt like previous hourly low there was pretty well put together for us after sweeping out previous hourly high like that and getting that bearish reaction. Okay. Did anybody take that on options and sell right then when I did? Trend friend, were you able to get the sell there? 376 could be the target. Yeah, that's what I wanted originally, but now we're kind of running out of daylight. Exited NQ. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so we got a couple people winning some trades today. So today was pretty, like, not great, but not horrible either. I really liked the delivery we had there from the previous hourly high. Just like slow grind down, you know, continuously making lower lows after that sweep. This sweep is really what told us the story, right, of what we wanted to do next. So now that we've taken out those previous hourly lows, I have no idea what the draw on liquidity is. I mean, I'd like to see price run here, but that's probably a little bit too much movement. I just realized if I would have stayed in that play on my Robinhood account, I would have gotten there by 3:30. So, rip. But it's okay because I just jumped right back in on Thinkorswim. So, I've been wanting to grow this Robinhood account, though. That's been my goal, is to, like, show marginal returns over time and just have those compound and then, like, grow, like, a $200 account into, like, a $20,000 account. Like, that would be cool. But unfortunately, it's going to be in the Thinkorswim, which that's fine. By the way, this is going to be like really random. I don't know if any of you guys drink pop or anything like that. But Target has a pretty crazy deal right now where you can get like 6 12 packs for like $24 or something like that. So I took advantage of that one today. I had it delivered to my house. It was like $31 or something after the bottle return fee. And I just got like all zero sugar stuff. There's a new flavor that like 7 Up came out with. It looks good. It's like this tropical flavor. But we have a grad party coming up, so helps buy some stuff for that. But yeah, sniped the exit there, of course, right? Take out previous hourly low, bullish reaction. So really good trade. How would you guys say today was? We'll do a little, I guess, survey feedback. Anywhere that I could have improved today, as far as like the stream or I don't know. Am I just alone up here? Good stream, okay. Yeah, I had to try and like make it work with what we kind of had today as PA, and it's pretty choppy, but like it was pretty easy to read delivery, throughout the day. We figured out we were delivering bearish, and then price flipped, and we started delivering bullish, and then when we took it the hourly high, we started delivering bearish again. You doubted a lot, Crypto Lab? Yeah. I knew the overall trend today was going to be bearish, even when we were all the way back up here. Remember, I said like I had to wait for basically the 15-minute to inverse, and then that would confirm that we were bearish. And then once that happened, we were just like we just got in a little too early. We got a little too excited. That's all that was. If we would have waited until like I guess the 2-minute inverse here, like we would have been in good shape. Because even then, like I avoided the 3-minute loss, right? Which we knew would have been a bad loss to take because we were coming off this 1 minute here, right? So like, just little room for improvement here, I guess. Maybe we don't take that 1 minute next time because that 30-second gap below. But overall, I mean, previous hourly low and high is going to save the day once again. Oh yeah, for sure, Shaka. So yeah, what is the draw on liquidity here, guys? Let's have a little bit of learning. What are some draws in liquidity that you can point out on the chart for me? Because I saw those questions popping up a lot in AM. I'm not sure if this is a problem in PM also, but I'm just curious. What are some draws in liquidity that are currently present on the chart? Daily above. Okay, so the daily city. Equal highs on the 1 minute. Where? Nate. Can I get some specifics? Are you talking about the relative equal highs here? $518.75. So I don't have any equal highs here actually on the 1 minute. Maybe they're just on MNQ or something, but just so you're aware, we do chart only on NQ. Yeah, okay, so yeah, make sure when you're charting, you're only looking at NQ for draws and liquidity. Okay, 3 o'clock high, sure. Nice obvious wick, time-based liquidity, why not? Okay, so that's all buy-side draws and liquidity. What about sell-side draws and liquidity? What sell-side draws do we have right now? You always are going to want to look at both. You know, you want to play both sides of the coin. We got this 30-second short here. Delivering off of the 5 minute. Wow, this actually doesn't look horrible. I guess break even there. In my mind, I'm kind of done for the day, but that wasn't horrible. It would have been a break even trade. I guess if you don't go break even at the equal lows, but we didn't do that earlier and that didn't work. And these equal lows are also inside of a fair value gap, I think. Oh, maybe not, actually. Oh, so maybe you don't go break even there. I don't know. 4 hour and daily below. Okay, so the 4 hour unfilled for value gap. So higher time frame liquidity, sure. Anything else that's important? What about all this? All right. All these stacked lows, right, from people trying to long. Stop losses there. Inside of a fair value gap. LR around 31.76. Yeah, so those lows. Sure. Okay. So you guys kind of know. You kind of know what's going on as far as draws and liquidity go, right? And so what you're going to do as a trader, right, to figure out bias and that kind of thing, so you don't even need to use me anymore, right, is all you're going to do is grab this. This is your hierarchy of draws, and you're going to go, okay, if we look at the chart, are we delivering bullish or bearish? Okay, we're respecting lower time frame, fair value gaps to the downside, and we're disrespecting lower time frame fair value gaps to the upside. So delivery at lower time frame is bearish. Okay, cool. Now let's evaluate our draws and liquidity, our sell side draws and liquidity. All right, we have LRLR, we have some higher time frame unfilled liquidity. Maybe we have a couple external lows. Okay, cool. So we've evaluated our draws and liquidity, and the highest important draw and liquidity that's on the chart is the unfilled daily / 4 hour for value gap that we're forming below. Okay, cool. So that's our draw and liquidity right now. That's what we're going to use to target, right? We don't really care about anything else. All we're going to do is we're going to create this roadmap. That's our destination. It's that higher time frame unfilled liquidity. And in our pursuit of that final destination that we have roadmapped out, we are going to take off partials at each roadblock that's on the way, right? So a roadblock can be as simple as an internal low, or it can be as complex as like a breaker block or whatever you want. Normally what we do is we do for value gaps, right? Or intermediate term lows or external lows or whatever, right? And so on this way down, we're going to take profit at each one of those roadblocks, and we're going to gauge the reaction, right? We're going to check to see if our car is still driving towards that destination. And if it's not, if it's broken down, if it starts going back in the opposite direction, right? If we can think of price as a car, then maybe we need to reevaluate once again and go through that checklist for delivery, see if we're respecting or disrespecting or whatever, right? And you're just going to continuously do that throughout the entire day, right? And that's kind of what I'm doing, most of the time as the, I guess, person on the stage, right? Is that's kind of my job, is I'm just sitting here and highlighting these things for you and pointing them out. And one day, when you sat in here and got enough screen time and figured out these things and used the checklist and gotten everything kind of memorized and whatever, you can do this all by yourself, right? And you can test yourself by confirming with me or Dodgy or checking our daily bias or whatever, right? And that's how you're going to become a fisherman instead of just a person that like comes to me for fish, right? Or Dodgy. You can do it yourself. Then you don't have to pay us. That should be your incentive. Get rid of one more monthly expense and figure out how to do it yourself and then become profitable. And then leave us. And we'll all be sad to see you go, but we'll all be happy that it happened. Right? Does anybody have any more questions for today? Do you guys see like why when we hit that previous hourly low here and we take into context price action and the fact that we don't really get a bearish reaction to the low here, we kind of soup it and then chop, why it makes sense to take full TP there? Dejman, I am probably done for the day, to be honest. I wouldn't really look short anymore because price action right now really isn't the greatest, and if I was looking short, I would probably want to target those draws and liquidity we just mentioned, but they're really far away, and based on our current like price characteristics, it doesn't really seem like price wants to expand. So that's kind of the reason why I'm just like chilling. Do you think the first presented for value gap has significance like ICT has been talking about in his latest videos? Honestly, I haven't really watched any ICT content since like I first started learning ICT, and I think that first 930 gap does have significance, or the first gap after 930, right? Because that's going to be like the highest traded volume in the day is those first 30 minutes of the trading day, right? Specifically right after open. And so you're going to have a lot of inefficiencies built up in that first presented gap because that's the highest volume trading, and so that's where the most inefficient price action is going to be if we form a fair value gap, right? So yes, I think it makes sense, and I think it does have significance. But once that fair value gap's been balanced, it doesn't have any significance. And what I see some people doing is they will mark out that first presented gap, and then they will leave it on their chart for the whole day, right? And they do the same thing with the new day and the new week opening gap. Once an inefficiency has been balanced, it doesn't hold significance anymore, right? At least that's my understanding. But a lot of people, for some reason, will just leave an inefficiency on the chart. And like say like, for example, like Scotty's saying, the first presented gap from Friday was the barricade for today, right? So basically, calling it our roadblock and saying that fair value gap from Friday has significance today. And that I'm going to disagree with. And I mean, maybe through your back testing, you've proven something differently, and I'm never going to knock somebody else for trading a different way than I am, as long as they're profitable. That's all that matters. But for me, in terms of how I think about liquidity and how we deliver, in the algo, like, it just doesn't make sense. Right? Yeah, and honestly, every single time you guys will post in the Profits channel or the Testimonials channel something that, whether you've learned something or you've passed a funded account or you've gotten a payout or whatever, like, all those things make me super happy. Like, I love seeing that. Like, that makes me feel like I'm doing my job, right? So, of course. I mean, it's been super cool watching the mentorship people, right? Obviously Dodgy had a big part in that too, but I like everyone, like Eliana and all of them, like they're getting consistent payouts now, which is awesome. Or they're getting funded, or I don't know, whatever. All right, Ed. We'll catch you tomorrow. Do I trade MFFU on Tradeovate or their own platform like TopStep? I trade MFFU on Tradeovate. They don't have their own platform. Do you trade? Oh yeah. Yep, three, three, three. Yeah. So yeah, Dejman, you can see kind of here why I'm not looking for shorts after we taken out previous hourly low. Just getting this bullish reaction in hindsight is really telling me that like price doesn't really want to head any lower, right? But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up here. If you guys have any additional questions, just send me a DM or whatever after close here. Oh, actually, I'll answer Protect real quick. If Apex and MFFU allow reserve funded like TopStep does, I think MFFU. I don't know about Apex, but I'm pretty sure MFFU does. But I don't know. Don't take my word 100% for it. I feel like I've been in a couple situations where that happened, and it's just like automatically converted to a new funded. So, but yeah, maybe something's changed recently or whatever. I feel like any question that like we have about prop firms, like as long as it's not like the basic ones, kind of like this one, like your best bet is always going to be to go to like the support staff or whatever in the Discord or like a ticket. Um, but yeah, obviously, I don't know. I do my best to try and answer like some of the more simpler stuff. It's just hard, right? Because like there's so many different prop firms now, and like having to memorize the rules and everything for all of them is like, you know, I'd have to like go through a class on prop firms in order to get everything memorized or whatever. Okay, so here's 350. So we might actually end up going back for high a day here, depending on the reaction to the 3 o'clock high. All right, Crypto Lab, you too. I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday evening. See you all tomorrow. Peace out.